Okay, you know that moment.
Your eyes lock with someone new, and it's like zap. Your brain just goes into overdrive.
Oh, yeah. We've all felt that. That instant magnetic pull. It's intense.
Super intense. But what if, like, understanding that rush could actually help you, give you a bit of a leg up in, building better connections and figuring yourself out, too?
That's exactly what we're diving into. We're going to try and untangle what's really happening chemically, biologically, when that attraction hits.
Okay.
And crucially, how that first flash is different from, like, a real deep connection.
Yeah.
It's about getting some clarity, right? So you
Yeah.
can navigate all that desire stuff without completely losing your head.
Right, without getting swept away by just the initial buzz.
Mm.
We're looking at a really interesting radical authenticity video for this.
Mm.
So our mission today basically is to really nail down the difference between that chemical spark, and what it actually takes to build something real, and hopefully give you some solid ways to handle desire authentically with, like, confidence.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so that first rush, what is going on there? What's the biology?
Well, it's fascinating when you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That immediate, like, whoa feeling. It's largely hormones. Your brain gets flooded with chemicals, creates this natural high. Feels amazing, right?
Totally.
And it's designed to feel amazing.
So it's like our biology has this massive want button just waiting to be pushed.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
The video puts it really well. Think of it as good marketing from your evolutionary programming.
Huh. Okay. Good marketing. I like that.
Right. Our brains are wired way back to seek connection, survival, reproduction, all that. So this strong pull, it serves a purpose.
An ancient purpose.
Exactly. But that first jolt, that spark,
Yeah.
it isn't necessarily love or even a sign you're truly compatible long term. It's more about that basic biological drive kicking in.
So it's like the demo version, not the full software package.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. Demo mode for potential connection.
Okay, so if that's just biology, the demo mode, how do we know when it's actually something more? How do you tell the difference between that hormone buzz and, like, a genuine connection starting? That feels really key.
It is key, and it often comes down to the focus of the attraction. Hormonal attraction is often very centered on what you feel you want to get, from that other person.
Right, what they can give me, yeah.
Whereas genuine connection, that revolves more around what you want to build together.
Ah, okay. That's a big shift from getting something to creating something.
Exactly. The video draws this really sharp contrast. You've got the, damn, they're hot, I want them feeling. That's about possession, right? Hormones basically screaming mine.
Right.
Versus the feeling of, I genuinely enjoy who this person is, how we interact. That's appreciation. That's connection whispering ours.
Mm-hmm.
One is acquisition, the other is valuing.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about, and I know so many people feel this, when you just can't stop thinking about someone, they just, like, live rent-free in your head. Doesn't that mean they're incredibly special?
It definitely feels like it means that. It's such a common thing.
Yeah.
But, and this is interesting, the video challenges that assumption, those obsessive thoughts. They might actually tell you more about your own internal state than about the actual person.
Huh. So it's less about how amazing they are and more about what's going on inside us. That's a different angle.
It is. And the video suggests asking yourself this really important question. Am I fixating on them because of who they are or because of how they make me feel about myself?
Ooh, okay. That's a tough question.
It can be. Because often those relentless thoughts aren't about truly appreciating the individual.
Yeah.
They're about chasing a feeling they give you, maybe validation, excitement, whatever. You might be chasing the high, not the person.
Wow, okay. Definitely food for thought there. So what about nerves? That feeling you get kind of jittery, tongue-tied around someone you're really attracted to. How do we deal with that?
Right, the nerves. The key idea here is shifting your approach, moving from a place of need towards what the video calls wholeness.
Wholeness, okay.
See, nervousness often pops up when you feel like you need something from them. You're trying to get their approval, maybe their attention, affection. Something is at stake.
And you're scared you won't get it.
Exactly. That creates vulnerability, fear. But if you approach from a place of already feeling pretty solid and secure in yourself, that wholeness idea, independent of their reaction.
Like, I'm good either way.
Precisely. I'm good either way.
Yeah.
Then the focus shifts. It's less about what you can get and more about what you genuinely want to offer just by being you. And that simple shift, it can dramatically dial down that nervous energy. Sometimes it just vanishes.
That sounds really empowering, actually. It also makes me think about something else the video mentioned, the difference between, playing it cool, pretending, versus actually being secure, Can we unpack that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really critical distinction. Playing games, acting aloof, uninterested, that kind of thing, that usually comes from insecurity. It's a tactic.
A manipulation almost.
Yeah, basically. It's driven by a fear of being vulnerable, of showing you care. But genuine security, that comes from a solid sense of your own self-worth. You know your value, so you don't need to play games to try and get a reaction or prove something.
So one's like putting on a show and the other is just being real?
Couldn't have said it better. One is trying to control their perception of you. The other is just authentic confidence. And honestly, people are usually way more drawn to real confidence than to some manufactured indifference.
Okay. And speaking of things that stir up big feelings, rejection. That's a huge one. How does this wholeness idea change how we deal with rejection?
This is where it gets really interesting. The video points out that rejection tends to hurt the most when you're kind of hoping that other person will fill some gap inside you.
Like you need their validation to feel okay.
Exactly. If you're looking externally for that sense of completeness, then rejection feels like a massive personal failure,
Yeah.
like you're not good enough.
Yeah, this stings.
It really does. But
Yeah.
if you're approaching connections from that place of self-sufficiency, of wholeness, rejection changes. It becomes, well, just information.
Information, how so?
It's information that this particular connection isn't the right fit right now. Anyway, it's not a judgment on your fundamental worth. It just means not compatible or not the right time. It loses that deep personal sting.
That's a much healthier way to look at it. It takes the power out of the fear a bit. Okay, so physical attraction versus something deeper. How do we tell them apart? Sometimes it feels really strong, that initial pull.
It does. And the video gives a pretty useful guideline here. Physical attraction, usually instant. That visual thing, that sensory draw, boom.
Right.
But real connection, that takes time. It grows, it deepens through actually spending time together, talking, understanding each other on different levels.
So that love at first sight thing might be more hormones having a really good first meeting?
Pretty much. It's a powerful first impression, but the video really cautions against like planning your future based only on that initial physical zap. Because real connection, while it can definitely include physical attraction, it goes way beyond that. It's about respecting how they think, admiring their character, genuinely enjoying their company.
Yeah.
Even when sex isn't on the table, you actually just like being around them.
Not just looking at them.
Exactly. You like the whole person, the interaction.
That makes total sense. The video also talked about, the classic advice, play hard to get. What's the take there from this authentic viewpoint?
Yeah, the video's pretty direct about this. Playing hard to get might snag some initial attention maybe, but it's not a strategy for building something real and lasting.
Why not?
Because people who are actually looking for genuine relationships, they tend to be drawn to authenticity, to directness, not to games or manipulation.
So all those dating rules you sometimes hear about, they might actually be counterproductive if you want something real.
Often, yeah. The video suggests flipping the script. Instead of trying to be hard to get, focus on being hard to forget.
Ooh, I like that. Hard to forget.
Right. And how do you do that? By being genuinely you, engaging authentically, sharing who you are. That kind of real presence, that's what sticks with people, the right people. Anyway.
Okay. So let's say we feel it. That intense desire for someone. It's natural, right?
Yeah.
But how do we handle it without becoming, well, the video uses the words needy or obsessive.
Right. And this is where that self-awareness muscle really comes in handy. The video makes a great point. Desire itself isn't the issue. It's natural. It's human. The problem comes with attachment.
Attachment.
Meaning that desperate need for a specific outcome, needing that person to respond in a certain way, needing them to fill a specific role, needing them to complete you somehow. It's the clinging, you see, not the wanting itself.
Okay. So it's the clinging that causes the trouble, not the initial feeling of wanting.
Exactly. So the advice isn't stuff down your desire.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's be honest, that rarely works. It often just makes it stronger.
Right.
Instead, it's about observing it, acknowledge it, feel the intensity, but don't let it dictate your actions. And then, always come back to that core question. Am I approaching this from wholeness or from lack?
Wholeness or lack, okay.
Because if you're coming from lack, trying to get them to fill a void, that's when the needy behaviors creep in, the constant texting, the insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, that's often what pushes people away.
Which leads us neatly to what the video called the secret formula. It quoted Jim Rohn, "I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me." That sounds profound, actually, like a really solid base for a relationship.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
basically the blueprint for healthy, non-codependent connections. It highlights that the strongest foundation is when each person takes responsibility for their own happiness, their own well-being.
Not relying on the other person to make them happy.
Exactly. When both people are focused on their own self-care, their own growth, they can come together from a place of strength, of mutual respect. They're choosing to be together, not needing to be together to feel okay.
So let's make that practical. What does taking care of me for you actually look like day to day, especially when you meet someone new and feel that strong pull?
The video gives some great concrete examples. It means, keep seeing your friends, keep pursuing your hobbies, the things you love, keep working on your goals.
Don't just drop everything for the new person.
Right. Don't put your whole life on pause the second someone interesting shows up. It also means, like, maybe don't text them constantly. Don't stalk their social media 24/7. Don't ditch your own plans and routines.
So it's about maintaining your own life, keeping it full and rich, even while you're making space for someone new.
Perfectly put. You keep building yourself, keep your own identity strong, stay fulfilled on your own terms, while also creating that space for connection. You show up as your best self, your most interesting self, not your neediest self.
And apparently, doing that leads to what the video called the crazy paradox of attractiveness. Why is it a paradox?
Well, the paradox is that we often think attractiveness comes from external stuff, right? Looks, money, job title, status. We work so hard on those things.
Sure.
But the video argues that inner wholeness is actually far more powerfully attractive than any of that external stuff. People are fundamentally drawn to others who add value, who are secure and happy in themselves, not to people who feel like an energy drain or who need rescuing.
So the more complete and fulfilled we are just on our own, the more attractive we become.
That's the paradox. Exactly. Real magnetic attractiveness radiates from that inner sense of already being enough. You're choosing to share your journey, not needing someone else to be your journey.
Wow.
And when you operate from that place, that initial desire, that spark we talked about, it transforms. It stops being this potential weakness, this thing that could make you needy or obsessive. It becomes a strength, a reflection of your own vibrant, independent energy.
And this really brings us back full circle to that main idea from the video, radical authenticity. Can you kind of wrap that up for us? What does it mean in this whole context?
Yeah, radical authenticity, as the video presents it, is basically finding that sweet spot. It's where your personal freedom and your ability to connect deeply can actually coexist.
Freedom and connection.
Right. It means you can feel intense desire, you can feel that pull, but you're not enslaved by it. You're not controlled by the need for a specific outcome. And because of that, you can build relationships that are about mutual growth, genuine appreciation, not just desperately trying to patch up holes inside yourself.
This has been incredibly insightful, seriously. It reframes so much about how we think about attraction and desire. It really makes you reconsider those first sparks and what actually builds something meaningful. So as you're listening and thinking about all this, maybe reflect on your own experiences.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe ask yourself this: how might really understanding this difference, the hormonal flash versus genuine connection, how might that change how you approach relationships, both new ones and the ones you're already in? It's definitely something worth mulling over.